Joe Cunningham is hoping to become the first Democrat to win the governorship of South Carolina in nearly a quarter century. He hopes that his position on sports betting could get him there. He wants to legalize it, which would be a revolutionary move for an anti gambling state such as South Carolina. Please enjoy our interview with Joe Cunningham, Democrat running for governor of South Carolina. Thanks for your time. Obviously, reading news bits out of South Carolina that a politician there and someone that aspires to be governor wants to legalize sports betting is newsy, considering the gambling history in that state, of which I'm sure you're aware. Just tell me about your idea and why you think that would be a good thing for South Carolina and how well received you think it would be.
First of all, I think it's already being very well received. And, in a day and age, Brant, where it's so hard for Democrats and Republicans to find anything to agree on. You can't even get them to agree on what day it is. And the fact that this has support on both sides of the aisle is refreshing. And I think it's even, encouraging to move forward and move on. And at the end of the day, this comes down to personal liberty and personal freedom. And if somebody wants to throw down $20 on a football game, who is the governor of South Carolina to say otherwise and prevent them from doing that? I mean, we're coming off the Super Bowl where a ton of money was wagered, and a lot of that was, all the money in South Carolina that was wagered was done under the tables and was done illegally. And we're just talking about bringing that out of the shadows and regulating it and taxing it and starting to tackle some of the problems we have in our state.
Mm-hmm. Your point seems to be, it sort of mirrors what a lot of other politicians in the states that want to legalize is it's happening, and no one's really naive enough to think that folks are just not doing it because it's not legal.
I mean, look, it's happening all across our country. I think 30 states have done it, and all the states around South Carolina have either legalized it or in the process of moving ahead. Unfortunately, South Carolina, it tends to be the last place for things to happen. And it's because we have failed leadership and people that are stuck, politicians specifically, who are stuck in the past. I mean, we're a great state with incredible people, but we're being held back by our politicians. Our current governor has been in politics for literally longer than I've been alive. And, this wasn't supposed to be a career for your entire lifetime. And I think that, if we keep the older vision in office, we're not going to have new ideas, and we're not going to be able to move our state forward. So this is, other states have realized the benefits of it, and South Carolina, I think, needs to do the same.
Just touching on your great point there about new ideas. Like, if I recall from doing some research on this, some of the anti-gambling laws in South Carolina are literally just post-Civil War, right? I mean, wasn't there a case there few years ago where a couple of guys playing poker in their house were tried for gambling charge? I think they were later acquitted, but there's some work to do there with those laws.
There's a lot of work to do with it, Brant. I mean, I think one of maybe two states that don't have a hate crimes bill in our state. We haven't expanded Medicaid in South Carolina. We haven't legalized even medical marijuana. That's an issue that 90% of people agree on. Again, this goes back to having failed leadership and having the same old vision in charge of our state government. And it's not a reflection of who we are as South Carolinians or where we want to take our state, because we're running a campaign of new ideas, and we're comparing that to the current governor that has no ideas. And that's just a simple contrast for voters to digest. And I think it's being well received right now.
Talking about, the appetite for this or not in North Carolina, there was a poll I read, I'm sure you did too, I believe it was in 2017, that 70% of those polled in the state supported an expansion of gambling if the money went to fix roads. There's room. It seems like there's room for this. There's an appetite, and there's been a couple of bills.
And here in South Carolina, Brant, we've got our share of problems, even, the problems that existed before COVID hit, again, I mean, going back to a sports analogy, I mean, we live in a state where we fire our football coaches if they have just one losing season. And McMaster has been in politics for 40 years. And you pull up our state's record, like, we're last in roads, we're last in schools, we're last in healthcare. And now he's coming to the voters saying, asking for another 4-year extension onto his contract, to do what he hasn't been able to do in 40 years. It doesn't make sense. And I think voters are picking up on that and realizing that and this is an issue, like I said, Brant, that has strong bipartisan support, and that it's traditionally been done, quite frankly, from states that are red and with more Republicans. So when you find an issue that can gain traction in a bipartisan fashion, I think you got to build on it.
Mhm. Clearly, from speaking with you, you and Governor McMaster are different in many ways, but sports betting and gambling is definitely going to be a differentiator for you, because I believe in 2018 he said that gambling, quote, flies in the face of everything that South Carolina stands for.
Let me tell you what South Carolinians love, Brent: freedom and liberty. And for McMaster to say that flies in the face of who we are as people, for him, the governor, the big government governor, to say you can't throw $20 down on a game. I mean, there's no difference between the sports allowing sports gambling and what we do right now with the state lottery. There's little to no difference there, and so but this is a common theme, a common trend with him, because he's opposed legalizing medical marijuana. And like I said, that goes back to personal freedom and liberty as well. But it also strikes at the heart of what our veterans need when they're coming back from serving our country. A lot of them who are coming home with injuries, and not all those injuries you can see, whether it be PTSD or other injuries. And a lot of them, all they want is access to medical marijuana, to help ease the pain of the injuries that they sustain while defending our freedoms abroad. And so, for him to deny that, for him to not deny these personal liberties and these personal freedoms, we're going to talk about that in front of voters, and we're going to allow the voters the opportunity to say, what kind of vision do you want here in South Carolina?
You have a history of bipartisanship, and I think that's well documented. But I had to look this up just before we got on. We're pushing a quarter century since a Democrat has been elected governor in South Carolina. I mean, how tough is this? I mean, that is a state that is is pretty Republican, or at least seems to send them to higher office.
Well, hey, challenge accepted. I've been here before, Brant. In 2018, we flipped a gerrymandered congressional district that had been Republican for longer than I've been alive. And when I got into that race in 2017, people thought I was crazy. People said you couldn't do it. Trump had won the district by 13 points. The Republican, the cycle before, had won by 22 points. Even on election night back in 2018, the pundits gave us a 9% chance of winning. But we went to every single corner of the district and talked to everybody, Democrats, Republicans, and turned the hearts and minds of thousands of South Carolinians, and and made history back in 2018. And in 2020, in a wave year, we almost did it a second time too. It came within a point of winning. We outran Joe Biden by 5 points. So gaining crossover support and winning tough races is nothing new to me. And so I've always been the underdog. I love being the underdog, and I accept that challenge. And I'm not dismayed by any of that, because we've made history before, and I think we can do it again.
Mm-hmm. It was interesting to see your Toyota truck tweet. It's good to see some humor in politics, and that thing got some traction. If you could just keep your truck under the birds, I think you're going to get a wave going here.
I'm right here at their office, and I was talking to them on the phone. I walk out the other day at lunch. I'm like, man, like holy shit! Like my truck is not unrecognizable. It's like it was only parked out there for like an hour. And, you think of things and you tweet them, and again, I think that's what's missing right now in politics. I mean, there's so much frustration, there's so much tension, and if you can do something that shows some humility, and the fact that I'm just a person, trying to make our state and our country a bit better, and just show people you're authentic and you're genuine, then it resonates with people. I'm not going to be somebody I'm not, and I'm going to put it out there, and we're going to have a very honest and thoughtful, but yet a fun campaign. And so that tends to stand out these days, and that's unfortunate, really, more than anything.
Yeah. In most states that I can think of off the top of my head that have legalized sports betting, the governors had to be pretty on board, or at least got tepid with it, and moved along and obviously signed the bill. Okay, let's play theoreticals. I know everyone loves those. Um, you win the nomination. You become governor of South Carolina. Uh, the legislature writes a great bill. It's competitive. It's great for everyone involved. Of course, you are brought down to wherever the casino is, or wherever the sports book is, or however it works out, and you get to place the ceremonial first sports bet in the state of South Carolina. um, what is it? What's got your heart and your $5 there for the first one?
I mean, you gotta go for a South Carolina team. You gotta go for Clemson's always a sure bet, or Carolina, but you gotta pick the home team, and I love college basketball as well. Um, I don't personally look. I don't gamble on sports, but this isn't about me. This is about I have a lot of friends and family members who do, and like I said, this is about something that's already happening, and we might as well pull in a little bit of revenue and give people the freedom to do it and create some jobs in the process too, Brent. So I just want people to enjoy that freedom and that liberty that people in so many other states already do.
Mhm. Very good. I appreciate your time on this today.
Yeah, yeah.